The shroud of the dark side has fallen. Begun. The Clone War has.
Clone Wars are a major event in the history of the Star Wars universe. And obviously because it's a war, there's a lot of action and a lot of adventure and a lot of things going on. But in the films, we don't really get to deal with that very much. We kind of start the Clone War in one episode, we end it in the next episode, but we never actually see the war. And so by doing the animated series, it was a great opportunity to fill in some of the blanks in the middle where you get to deal with the adventures of the war and all the things that went on during the war, because obviously that's a very fertile ground for exciting storytelling.
The response from the first 20 has been really positive. I think everybody just complained about how short they were. I got a phone call that George wanted to talk to me, and they had this idea because they wanted to do more, but he wanted it to tie in directly into episode 3.
It seemed like an honor, you know. He enjoyed the first batch enough to want to be like, hey, let's do some more. And not only that, let's want you guys animate the opening scroll, basically. We're like, woohoo!
That's one of the great things about these. They're 12-minute episodes, and wow, we could fit 4 times, obviously, as much information. And plus, it directly ties into the third movie, which makes it even more captivating because it's more of a story rather than just episodes of war. The big arc that we worked on was with the Anakin and Obi-Wan.
In our first batch, it was more of like what was going on in episode 2 with the kind of, you know, gruffy master and the kind of the, you know, bull-headed student.
You're supposed to be in space leading our forces.
It's under control.
Under control? I don't think so. Your place.
So we really wanted to show that there was a transfer of that, you know, that the relationship had become something a bit different. That those elements could still be there under the surface, but for the most part, you know, they're chums, they're pals.
And so if you like the first ones, these will be even stronger, because now we still have huge amounts of action, but we've got those little slower parts where you can have some great character relationships.
So it may start off like this, really thumbnails, totally.
You know, initially when we first started, we talked a lot about style and how's this going to translate into animation. But I'm definitely a very true fan of 2D traditional animation, you know, from Disney through Warner Brothers, through the Fleshers, through everything. You know, all the history that's established animation as an art form. And so it was kind of important to us to create a style where it spoke true of Star Wars and related to it, but it also had its own visual point of view.
The thing that attracted me to it, it has a slight anime feel to it, and I'm very interested in anime, and I was really interested in moving into a kind of animation that was very different from anything we'd done in the past. And Gindi is very good at bridging that transition between traditional animation and anime.
So here we are at Cartoon Network, and this is where we make Star Wars, Clone Wars. And as you can see, my room is a little messy, but I never have a chance to catch up and clean up. So the process that we're doing with the Clone Wars, the second chapter, is we're doing these kind of small thumbnails for storyboards. And this is actually some of the choreography. There's like 30, 40, 50 poses for like 5 seconds. Because when we do fights, we have to really do the choreography. And then what we'll do with this is we scan them into the computer, and then myself and a few other people will draw them actually on model. So here, if you can hear, so here, as you can see, here's the rough sketch that's blown up, and here we have our fielding. So that's kind of the pose I want to draw, and then so I'll draw the pose, sometimes in different layers to come in. And then here underneath is I've got my whole storyboard of all the fight poses. So here we have Paul Rudish who's the art director, and Paul's doing the same thing that I was showing you, except he's still drawing with a pencil and paper.
Having the opportunity to be involved with the whole Star Wars saga, it's been really cool to actually explore the Clone Wars. Me and my friend Mike Tweed be playing with our action figures and down in the basement, and just, you know, dreaming about what were the Clone Wars all about. And then having an opportunity to make some of that gel is really awesome. It's fun that there's so many different little mediums that explore Star Wars and making it a larger universe, and just on a nerd level, it'll be cool to go, yeah, my cartoon connects to that movie. Now you get to go see the movie and then find out how my cartoon ended. Pretty amazing.
One of the most important elements of Star Wars is all the flybys and how the ships go. And to do that hand-drawn would be very difficult. So that's kind of the only way the computer was involved, is by doing the animation on the ships. This is really my favorite part of the process, where we start seeing things coming together, and from those rough little thumbnails and even our ideas to this final process. And then once you add sound and music, it'll be even so much more spectacular.
The second group of episodes in the animated series leads right up to the events that happen in the film. So we get a little background on what was going on right before episode 3.
I mean, ideally, what we'd love to see is we'd love to see like an hour edit of the chapters, the next 5, be shown in the movie theater right before the third movie, just to see how it feels, because it really does link up.
It's the last of this epic saga, and I mean, you gotta see it on the big screen.
Oh, there's a new one. There's a new one coming.
It's a little episode 2.5, but a little one, maybe like 2.3.